Hello everyone and welcome to this latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. Hope you're all doing well. To see Elvis there walking off in disgust that my attention is otherwise focused. I thought I would just pop in today with a video for you, kind of a weekly reads or a Monday reads, or basically what I've read over the last week, what I'm reading, what I'm maybe going to read. Yes, let's jump right in. I finished 4 books in the last week. One of them I read in a day, which was unusual for me because it was a science fiction book. But there's a lot of talk going on about Book Trek and Babylon 5, Readathon, and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, well, we need some good British science fiction, so I decided to read a Doctor Who book, and I read the first Doctor Who book, Doctor Who and an Unearthly Child, by Terrance Dicks. It wasn't the first book written, but when it was written, it was made the first book, if that makes sense. And actually, it was really good. I mean, it was very simple. I mean, there's no literary merit to it, but it was fun. Follows the story of being introduced to Doctor Who, and they go back to a kind of Neolithic era with cavemen and all that kind of stuff. And it was good. It was fun. Next, I finished A Kiss Before Dying, which is my third Ira Levine book after Stepford Wives and Rosemary's Baby. And it was excellent, really good, probably my favourite so far actually. Really enjoyed it. Excellent murder story, and again, psychotic male leading character. Though this case, he was known to be psychotic from the very beginning, so or at least a bit of a nasty piece of work from the very beginning. Whereas in the other books, the men kind of be found out to be nasty characters later on. So it's been 2 cases in Rosemary's Baby and Stepford Wives are really horrible husbands, where in this case it was a really, really terrible boyfriend. But I really recommend it. It was great fun. And the other one another one I finished was The Last Duel by Eric Jaeger. I did start it a while back and then realised I hadn't finished it, so I read through it again. And it's good fun. I haven't seen the film. I know it's in a film with Adam Driver and Matt Damon and others. It's the story of the last judicial duel that was fought in France in 1386, I think it was, when a nobleman's wife is raped by a squire who at one point was friends with the nobleman, and then they became estranged over arguments to do with land and money and that kind of thing. And of course, the squire vehemently denies it, and the knight demands trial by combat, or at least to settle it through a duel. And it takes place. All the while, though, for the nobleman's wife, it's a bit harrowing, because if her husband should lose, she will immediately be taken and executed herself for perjury, and the sentence would be being burned alive. So it's pretty horrific. The other book I finished was The Lodger, which I mentioned in my last video for Friday freebie last Friday, which is a book that the Hitchcock film The Lodger, or A Tale of the London, or Story of the London Fog, starring Ivor Novello, was based on, and that was also excellent. Really, really good. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of it. I read it like the first 2 on ebook. The author's name escapes me. Mary Belloc Lowndes, I think, was her name. It's a really interesting take on, I suppose, the Jack the Ripper killings. I believe one of the first novelizations of the Jack the Ripper killings. It's creepy, but it's also very weird, because there doesn't appear to be much violence actually in the book that we see happening. It all kind of happens off screen, off page, I suppose. Yeah, it was excellent. And then, what am I currently reading? I'm currently reading a few things. I started a book called Once on a Time by A. A. Milne, which is a fairy story, fairy tale for adults. Although he makes a point that it's a fairy tale without morals, or without a moral at the end. And I wonder then, if a fairy tale without a moral, if that's just fantasy. But, I don't know the difference between fairy tales and fantasy. I assume it's the idea of morals. I mean, if you've got princesses and dragons and things like that, then it sounds an awful lot like fantasy to me. So let me know your thoughts. I started yesterday, The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. Lovely Penguin Deluxe Classics edition here. I don't really know what to say about it at the moment. I'm really enjoying it, but it's weird, of course. I mean, I guess I expected it to be. When you hear there's a giant talking cat in it, you know it's going to be weird. The story doesn't flow so much to me as a story. It seems a bit all over the place at times, but I mean, I'm still early on. But I enjoy the way it's written. I'm enjoying the way it's translated. It's a translation by Richard Pevier and Larissa Volkanovsky, who I understand are very well respected translators of Russian classics, having done War and Peace, Anna Karenina, and that kind of thing. Of course, I am also reading, how can I forget, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Almost finished it. I'm ahead of the videos yet, because I know that there might come a day where I won't be able to maybe read it, so I've made sure I've recorded a couple in advance. I'm thinking perhaps, if people are interested, although I know not too many people are watching it, I quite understand, of course. I mean, nobody really wants to sit through, what are we up to now, 27 or 28 videos of me reading aloud, but I thought maybe for the last chapter or last two chapters I will do a live, perhaps, where I'll read them live and then we can talk about it, because I found it very interesting. It's my first time reading it, and I've certainly got opinions on it, so if that would be something that interests you, let me know. And then I've read a few short stories, which are mostly to do with criminal short stories. I read another mystery by A. A. Milne, and I've been reading from a book of collected short stories to do with detective novels. Name escapes me at the moment. Body in the Library, I think it is, volume 1. That's been really good, because it's introducing lost detective stories from the early 20th century. And maybe that's it for now. I've got a lot coming up in August in terms of what I have to read. I'm running an event with Sean D. Stanfast called August of Adventures, which has committed me to reading at least 4 books from there. I've got to finish Master and Margarita. I'm also decided I'm going to take part in Gareth's Audible August. Books, music, and other magic. Books, songs, and other magic, I believe, is his channel. Sorry, Gareth, I've completely gone blank, especially as you did a Desert Island Books with Sean yesterday on it. But I think that sounds fascinating, reading books to do with music. So I've chosen a couple of books for that. I'm not too concerned, because the first 3 books we're doing for August Adventures I have read numerous times, so I know I can reread them fairly quickly, although I want to take my time and enjoy them. I mean, it's still something that when you've read something a lot of times, you probably do move a bit faster than normal. And then anything else? Oh, Steve Donahue left a message or a comment in one of my videos about perhaps doing a reading of some work together, the two of us, taking a chapter each. That could be good fun. Let me know what you think, if it's something you'd enjoy seeing. But I guess that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back again very soon, I'm sure. Well, I'll certainly be back with another reading of this. Anyway, do take care, everyone. See you later. Bye.
Better